floods such as the old stories tell of. Mountains of water come to inundate the land, as all the tales foretell. It seemed to rear directly overhead, so lofty was it. Foam webbed its curved leading face, dirty white capped its peak. He could only gape upwards at its remorseless, fatal advance. "Run, littlins, run! The water comes to reclaim the land!" Approximately 400 years BW, before the wall. The Empty Isles. Timal pushed himself upright from the chilling surf and crouched, sword ready. He gazed uncomprehendingly around the surface of the darkening waters, wiping the cold spray from his face. Where have they gone? One moment he's fighting for his life, and the next the sea demons disappear, like the mist that preceded them. Weak coughing sounded from his flank. He slogged among the rocks to lift a soaked comrade, Arel, a distant cousin. Though almost faint with exhaustion, Timal dragged the man to shore. Survivors of his warband ran down to the surf to pull both to the reviving warmth of a great bonfire of driftwood. "What happened?" he stammered through chattering teeth. "They withdrew," answered Timal's older sword brother, Genelf. His tone conveyed his bewildered disbelief. Yet, why? They had us. Timal did not dispute the evaluation. He was too tired, and he knew it to be true. He had less than 20 hale men in his band, and too many of those inexperienced youths. "They will return with the dawn to finish us," Genelf continued from across the fire. Timal held his old comrade's gaze through the leaping flames, and again said nothing. At their feet, Arel coughed, then vomited up the seawater he'd swallowed. "What of Redden?" one of the new recruits asked. "We could send for aid." Faces lifted all round the fire, pale with chill and fear. "They could be with us by dawn." "Redden is just as hard-pressed as us," Timal cut in strongly. "He must defend his own shore." He glanced from one strained face to another. "Redden cannot spare the men." "Then," began one of the youths. "Then we wait and rest," Genelf barked. "Arel, Will, Otten, keep watch. The rest of you, get some sleep." Grateful for the support of his old friend, Timal eased himself to the ground. He thrust his sandaled feet out to the fire and tried to ignore the agonizing sting of salt licking his many cuts and gashes. He felt the heat work upon him and hunched forward, hand across his lap at the grip of his sheathed sword, and through slit eyes he watched the mist climb from his drying leathers. He had no idea why the damned sea demon riders attacked. Despite them, it was an attractive land. The peninsulas and islands were rich and cultivable. It was ready to be wholly settled, but for a few ignorant native tribals. His father and his grandfather before him had fought to keep their tenuous foothold. As leader of his extended clan, he had to think of the future. Enough futile wandering. They would hang on to these islands and all the lands beyond. Dark Avalithal, with its haunted woods, had not suited, nor the savage coast of Dalhorn, nor the brooding isles of Malasa. Here flew their standard. Here his forebears burned their boats. He would not allow these riders to force them out. They had nowhere to go. Timal jerked awake, knocking aside Genelf's touch. It was almost dawn. An attack. He struggled up on legs, numb and stiff. His lieutenant's face held an unfamiliar expression. No. He lifted his chin to their rear, to where the grass-topped cliffs of the shore rose, to the meadows and forests and farmland beyond, all of which would soon be dead and withered should the sea demons be allowed to work their witchery unmolested. Everyone, Timal noted, stared inland, not out to sea where they should be keeping watch for the first pearl-like gleams of the rider's approach. "What is it?" Genelf did not answer, and it occurred to Timal that the strange expression on his friend's coarse, battle-hardened face might be awed wonder. He squinted up to the top of the cliff's ragged silhouette. A figure stood there, tall beneath dark clouds in the red gold of the coming dawn's light. The proportions of what he was seeing struck Timal as strange. Whoever that was, he or she must be a giant to rear